Joining us now, Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. Thank you, Senator, for coming on the show this morning. Big night tonight in New Hampshire. I want to hear about the effort to write in President Biden's name, but he's not on the ballot. Can you explain why?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on. And yes, this is New Hampshire primary day, and the energy on the ground is really, really strong and really good. And of course, as you just referenced, the DNC made a really bad decision to forgo the New Hampshire primary. As you know, we have a state law that says we go first. That kind of is a result of the fact that we have a strong citizen-driven, citizen-led democracy in New Hampshire. We take it very seriously, and we've led the way in making sure that voters have a direct say in choosing their nominee, not party bosses. So that's the backdrop there. But in the meantime, understanding the stakes in this election, understanding the strong record of bipartisan results that Joe Biden has, New Hampshire Democrats and like-minded independents have started a write-in campaign, and it's going well. The energy on the ground is great. We even had a delegate selection for Joe Biden a few weeks ago, and a lot of people turned out to compete to be Joe Biden delegates, including a lot of young people. So we're feeling good about the effort, but you know, it's a busy day, and write-in campaigns are tough, but we're feeling good.
Okay, and so the write-in effort at this point, it's not to defeat Trump, but is it to send a message, or what is the point of it at this point, since President Biden is not on the ballot?
Well, look, what is important here is that voters are engaging, and we're building out a grassroots organization, not only for today's effort, but for November.
Right.
The key thing about the New Hampshire primary, what is unique about New Hampshire, is in a small state, candidates without a big war chest and without big name recognition can come and engage in the kind of retail politics where voters who are very used to engaging with their elected officials really vet candidates. And it really produces stronger candidates and stronger presidents. And so the point of this is making sure that we are delivering a message to our fellow citizens, both in New Hampshire and around the country, about the strength of Joe Biden's results, whether it's the infrastructure bill or getting health care to veterans who really need it or investing in American manufacturing. But we're also talking about the stakes of this election and the threat that Donald Trump poses to our democracy. This is a guy who denies election results, chooses violence over voting, engaged in, encouraged the insurrection to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power, says he's above the law, and has stripped away the most fundamental of rights from women, bragging about his appointments to the Supreme Court. So at stake in this election is another Donald Trump presidency where we won't recognize our democracy or re-electing Joe Biden, who has really worked across party lines to deliver for the people of our country. And that's what's supposed to happen in a democracy, putting the voters' priorities and needs first. So that's what's at stake here, and we want to make sure that folks are remembering that.
President Biden will be in Virginia today, I believe, talking about reproductive freedom. And I'm curious, the issues that are, I mean, you talked about the issues that really are confronting this election, that are important, big picture for this election. And you are right. Our democracy is at stake. Often, though, when you go to New Hampshire and talk to the voters, it's kitchen table issues. Definitely, right. President Biden can brag on the economy. Donald Trump can try and manipulate information, but it is what it is, and the numbers are what they are. What about abortion health care? What are your constituents in New Hampshire talking about that is most important to them as we look down the line beyond the primary? We have made some progress on the economy, but things are too expensive. But my constituents don't silo topics off. They're living their lives, which involve working to make sure they can afford prescription drugs. That's something we've made some progress on. We have more work to do. Cost of housing and health care are huge issues in New Hampshire, but so are fundamental freedoms. As you know, I defeated an election denier who also wanted a nationwide abortion ban in my election in 2022. And
think voters cared about those issues a great deal. They care a lot about democracy. And one of the things I've been talking to them about, my dad was a World War II veteran, and he always said to me, in the run-up to World War II, people thought the language the fascists were using, the fact that they were targeting Jewish people was, it was just talk. It was just one racial group they were targeting. We didn't really need to worry about it or get involved. And we were wrong. We did. And so one of the things, when you hear Donald Trump talk about his opponents as vermin and encouraging violence, this isn't just talk. This isn't just casual. He's telling you who he is and what he will do. And voters understand that, too.
Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, thank you so much for being on the show this morning. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's
Thanks
go
for
back
having me.
to Will.